My name is Myra Franks. I live in rural northwest Alabama, small town called Fayette. Well, my faith, it has played a real important part in my life, living here in the middle of the Bible Belt. Uh, they say that we're in the buckle, to be exact. So, growing up in the church, we just had a belief that everything was going to be all right. And after my diagnosis and dealing with some other issues in my life, I thought that hope was over with, that I was going to die. But, because of what was instilled inside me from my youth, we believe that joy will come in the morning. So we hold on. And I'm glad I have held out until this moment. We could talk about this and take it in so many avenues, but the resistance part, sometimes that can be work. Doing the when things come up and we stand up against them, we have to take times to rejuvenate ourselves, refresh, take time out for ourselves. And there's joy in that moment, especially when we get together. Uh, for instance, when there was something going on in a different country where they went over with some planes and stuff, and a lot of us didn't know it because we were celebrating the moment and dancing. So, and once we heard, we continued to dance, even though we did, once we gathered together in our places of worship, we prayed for people. And that could be a form of resistance too, doing what you can when you can in that moment, you know, trying to make things better for people. I keep showing up for the people who were like me. For 12 years, I stayed in silence, and when my significant other transitioned from the latter stages of HIV, um, I literally had a mental breakdown. I didn't know anybody living with HIV, so I ended up in a hospital and started meeting people I didn't know. I had no clue that there were HIV advocates. Things were going on in the world. People were still fighting for HIV because we do not have that type of support system in the country. Where I live right now, I know three people and one of them died about a month ago. So it's hard in rural areas like that, and that'll keep me showing up. For the people, if I can make contact with them, I'm gonna show up and try to get them the help they need. Let them know that I am here, and I know what it feels like, and I see you. I know what you're going through. I would like for the faith community to understand that HIV is just a virus. I need them to understand that there are people who need them. They need to support people living with HIV, regardless of their sexual orientation or anything else. Like I said, I live in the Bible Belt, and I hear a lot of that in church. So I haven't been doing a lot of church for that one reason. Some of my best friends are people in the LGBTQ plus community, and I support them wholeheartedly. I would not, a lot of us would not be in the position that we're in today had it not been for those who were on the front lines 40 years ago or 35 years ago or so, when they got tired of watching their people, just fade away. So to me, churches, they need to understand, they need to get to the science, you know, bring together the science and the sacred so that people will feel free to come to places of worship. I know a lot of people, they won't go to church. And for a long time, I did church online because a lot of people, they knew my story with dealing with my significant other when he transitioned, and I was guilty by association. So when I walked in the church, come here, sister. I want to pray for you. I heard your story. Let me pray for you. And it kind of left a bad taste in my mouth in my area. But I truly believe that the God of my understanding, He ushered me right back to this same city where I felt bad about my situation. I never wanted to come back, but He's doing things in my life here. So, and I just believe that He's going to continue. God's going to continue to work me right here where I am. And I will be here until He relieves me of this position. Because there's literally not a lot to do here in the country. We just got public transportation, and people who are living with HIV, a lot of times they don't know where the resources are. Transportation is a great big issue. And, people in the church, faith people, they can help in some of these areas to the people who are here. And I know it's a lot more people here. We just don't know each other. And we need each other to support each other. We can get together and have our own church. If the faith based community won't allow me and my friends to come in. The thing that brings me joy is seeing my people, get what they need when they need it. And a lot of times that's nothing but knowledge, because I didn't know until I knew. Somebody had to tell me and hold me by my hand, and sometimes walk with me into a facility or something. Um, a lot of joy, friends and family. And I know everybody doesn't have that luxury. And I pray that one day that the stigma around HIV will change so everybody can have the freedom to be joyous. So, what I would say to my people, especially my Black women who are living with HIV, that I see you, I feel your pain, and it's going to be all right. We need to love on each other and support on each other, regardless of what the situation is. Whether there's a lot of cancers going around now and other comorbidities, with as people, I see people getting older. This area also has a fairly high rate of overdose. So we need to love and support on each other. And in the meantime, while I am navigating my life living with HIV, I want everybody to understand that we're all in this together. And we don't have space. We don't have the time to be turning people away because of our uneducation. I feel most joyful when I be in a lot of settings where we have events, and I see that the work that people put into it, and me doing this is bringing me a lot of joy because it's getting community out. They're getting some of the information they need. And my sincere prayer is that they will take what they gather and take it back to their communities. So it's a very joyful experience to me, because I don't think that we have had a lot of that in the past in the rural areas. This is your reminder that Black women, they deserve to be celebrated and honored. We wear a lot of hats. We do a lot. We go the distance for our friends, our family, our colleagues. We make it work when it seems like it's undoable. We wear a lot of hats. And just know that we deserve, a little kindness, to be treated gentle sometimes. And we will continue to stand and change our hats on a daily basis to do what needs to be done.